Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the channel. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a good week so far with two streams out of the way already so far this week. So I hope you've enjoyed what we've had on the channel so far. Today we're mixing it up. We're going old school, big radials, and the fantastic PMDG DC-6 in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the LiftMaster cargo version here at Sim-Wings Anchorage. And we've wound the time forward slightly by about an hour and a half because it is almost sunrise in Anchorage. It's still at the minute the depths of darkness in the far northwest, so limited on sunlight and things like that. Very warm welcome to all of you in the live chat. Liam, Zato, Badger, Matthew, Alberto, good morning to you over in Chile. And Jim, good afternoon to you. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all looking forward to today. It's a fantastic aircraft. It is a lot to handle. And it's been quite a long time since we last flew it in a stream, or in fact, indeed, since I've seen anybody fly it on any stream for quite a while. So let's take the pitot covers off, let's take away the drip trays, and we'll take her for a spin up to Nome today. Journey that will take us around about 2 hours or so. Saw Liam in the A32NX just in the distance there in the Osprey Airways livery. If you're new to the channel, tuning in for the first time, great to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Please do hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and give the stream a like while you're here as well. Let's pop Navigraph on. Nome's going to be tricky, by the way, guys, because we might have to land on runway 03, in which case it's going to be a all pan-flown approach, because it's an RNAV-only approach, which this can't do. But at the moment, we're up on the northern apron here at Anchorage, the Sim-Wings Anchorage scenery. We're going to taxi out, quick little turn round on the Everts base here on the northern apron Sierra, taxiing down Romeo, and then lining up at the very bottom here to use the whole runway, runway 33 for departure. Spotting north with a right turn, a left turn on the Anchorage 9 departure. We're not going to worry about where we're going to go too much in relation to this, because we're actually just going to go straight out northwest towards FFITZ, and then try and get it all to work. The initial climb is this. Fly runway heading 329 degrees at 600 feet, 301 degrees heading, and then from there we think about our route outbound from there. And we're just going to climb up to 16,000 feet today, which is our cruise. Along this little airway is a couple of VORs to help us along the way. This is a VOR TAC 1155, and then we've got Unala Kilit 1169 up here on the coast, well into our descent at that point as we're then heading in. And just to help us as well, we have Nome 1150 OME right near the airport, along with Fort Davis NDB there, 529 on the ADF. Now Nome is 41 feet elevation, the longest runway is 1,859 meters long, and we were expecting this, the ILS Yankee runway 28. Which would have taken us straight in, basically. Quite a nice approach, and it would have been a nice ILS to fly in the DC-6 as well, but alas, the weather's suggesting we might not be able to do that. So the next best thing is runway 03. The only published charts here is this, which we can't do in a DC-6. And we've got the default GPS inside of it, so it's quite clunky. Therefore, we might end up making a bit of a mishmash of it, and we might use this initially to help us, which is runway unspecified NDBA approach into Nome instead. So flying initially over the Nome VOR, then into Fort Davis NDB before we'll probably break off, head out over the water. Bit of a circling approach, similar to Samos actually, I guess, potentially, but less dramatic into 03 there. Who knows? We might have to make it up as we go along. We've got the Orbx mesh installed. It's just been updated and fixed by the Orbx team. Very, very nice indeed. Pete, good evening. KC, Joep, hello to you folks. And Ashley, good afternoon. Saying good luck, can't hang around today. We hope she doesn't try and kill you like last time. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. David A, good morning to you in the States there. Jonathan, hello as well. Hope you're well. Michael, hello to you. Unrelated question, but what's your opinion of the upcoming 737-600? Haven't got one yet because I've not actually had chance to take a look myself, but it's basically like a sports car version of the 737 NG, which is quite cool. A lot of people are saying they're not interested in it, but certainly think it's worth having a little look at least. I'm hoping to be able to bring you guys some previews of it when it does get a bit closer. Once the official press preview stuff can happen, once they give it the green light. Okay, there's our loads for today. Just under 80 tons. Well, that's pounds actually, isn't it? So 80,000 pounds. We might just click ready for start. You're going to use the artificial flight engineer today because there's a lot to do in this aeroplane. Let's get rid of the music for a bit because we want to hear these wonderful sounds on the aeroplane here. We want to make sure our comms are selected. So we're going to tune 1228, click it across. We want to make sure the CDI is changed to GPS on the nav. And then we're going to go to
Osprey 094, mic check.
readability 5, how many? Michael, no worries at all. So the beauty is we have the choice, isn't it? That's the beauty of it, the wonders of it. MCG's 1155.
Anchorage traffic, Airbus 14610, clear runway 25 left, other taxi to
169. That's not going to allow us really. We'll put that there in case we do get a comm failure for whatever reason. And we want to flick this across. We want 1155. Flick it across there as well to make sure that's active. NDB's 529. We will tune that now. At 529 FDV. Overshot it. There we go. 529. Wonderful. ADF1. Okay, so what it does for us is change the engine selector there to a bit more of a suitable. Basically, we're all ready to start the engines. So what we need to do is go down here, make sure that is on auto rich. That's all set, props unlocked, that's all looking fine. Let's get rid of the Gus lock for now, because I will forget that. I've got a horrendous habit of that. And also we want to make sure we want to shut these doors, don't we? Cargo entrance, cargo doors, cargo holds, stairs. Deciding, yeah, so Emmy's part of the beta team with PMDG, so he gets kind of like a little bit more of an early access nod. Which is quite cool. Yeah, some people are very excited for the Janet ops, aren't they? Let's close the front cabin exit. And we are ready for start, so let's see.
cockpit pre-flight.
Basically, he's going to work through
Voice recorder.
and pop all the generators and everything on as required. David, good afternoon. Jonathan, we're on the Northern Apron.
Fuel and fluids. Checked. Pressurization. Sit. Manifold
Yeah,
and tug
temperature.
pressure. Checked.
10 degrees.
Radios.
Look at that, folks.
Checked.
There's an aircraft.
Doors and hatches.
METAR, 160 degrees at 7 knots. Oh, that's changed quite dramatically. What's the ATIS at the moment then in here?
Closed.
PANC.
Door warning
Still
lights.
departing 3, 3 and 7 left.
Gear pins. Removed. 3 on board. Seat belts and pedals.
Anchorage traffic, Everts 880 on the Everts Open. Northern side, start up.
Set to idle.
Anchorage traffic.
Propellers. Forward and 3.
13 degrees, dew point 8 and QNH
Start engine.
altimeters 299 which apparently is 1015. What is that in real money? 299 in HPA. 1015 it is. Perfect. We shall leave that set as that then. That's showing GPS, which is good. And now, let's go down here. We want to make sure the mixtures, it's reset it for us because I've re-clicked the start mode stuff. That's set already. Ignition mode selector there is set. We'll pop the magneto to both and let's start her up.
3, 6, 9, 12.
Boom, boom. Engine 3. Manifold pressure rising, the RPM's rising there. Fuel flow's slightly increased. We are on idle at the moment. Lovely stuff. Trying to remember what the next one is. Is it 4? 3, 4, 2, 1 or something, isn't it? I can't remember the exact sequence now, to be honest. That needs to go on. That needs to go on. That needs to go on. They're all set. That's all good. That's fine. Start her up.
3, 6, 9, 12.
Beer prop indeed. Dear Gaming, welcome. Indeed, gifted a membership. Very cool. 111 new members on our 20k stream. It's incredible. 3421 due to sync in, David. Thank you, buddy. Thankfully I was correct with engine 4 then. I couldn't quite remember the sequence off the top of my head. Number 2. Wasn't far off, thankfully. Back to the top, that's all reset itself. So number 2, ignition mode both, engine selector mode onto 2 and that onto low for the fuel booster main pumps, and engine 2 start.
3,
I reckon it'll be a slightly higher pull than the 700.
9, 12.
Oh. Ground power helping us out. Beautiful sunset, a sunrise departure here today. And we're going to go engine 1 now, last of the 4 that we've got to maintain throughout the journey today. That onto both, that's all reset. Pop that onto 1, flick that there, and engine 1 start.
3, 6, 9,
12.
12.
Here we go. Phantom, hello! Yeah, we'll be low and slow for a little while today. Cruise of 16,000 feet, so we're quite low in general. 10 degrees, wasn't it, for this? Let's pop a bit of cockpit temperature up. Bit of white. Let's leave it red, actually. Radio backlighting, let's increase that. We need to pop that on slightly there. Let's look at our engine stress visualizer. So carb temps. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got some engine stress going on with the oil temperatures at the moment and the oil pressures, but that's because the engines are warming up. We need to go to AFE and we go to the before after start select stuff.
Off and off. Battery switch. Plane metric.
Ho, ho, ho. 1,
After
2,
checks complete.
3, 4, and rudder controls. Okay, so for taxi then, we are, what did he say we were? We're Sierra Romeo, the whole point, runway 33. Make sure that's set. 2000. I'll break off. Let's go all the way around. Anchorage traffic, Everts 880 is taxiing out from the Everts base, northern side. Sierra Romeo to hold point runway 33, Anchorage traffic. Liam, there's a gyro pilot.
Traffic pushing back after passing traffic from stand 16.
There's a gyro pilot basically, so yeah, it's a little different for us. He's in a Phoenix there, it's replicating. A bit bizarre watching the gears retract constantly, but hey ho. That's all looking better now. Oil temperatures are starting to come up for engines 1 and 2. Oil pressure, engine 4 is looking a little low, but that might come up with a bit of power as well. T's and P's starting to rise. Engine 1's late to follow, and we'll follow the greens. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just a remarkable airport, isn't it? Let's slow down the rotation speed a little bit of the drone camera. Look at that backdrop, folks. Just a bit of loop on the taxi line there. Romeo's coming up. Joey Goofy, hello. Very nice livery, yes, absolutely. It's part of the PMDG DC-6, so you can download a number of different liveries, this one included, with the product, which is very nice. One thing I found the other day, thanks to Joep, it's got wipers. There we go. And a door that slides. Oops. What's going on here with the door?
Osprey 094
Locked.
after traffic, taxiing via uniform Mike Lima for runway 33.
Yeah, imagine being a pilot of this
Lima 1, that's going to be Osprey 094.
in this area. It's just spectacular. Look at that. Two, three, four. Jonathan, exciting. Now we've got the window closed, you can hear the difference in the sound. Probably want that a little bit further, more prominent for us. So because this uses the default GPS, it's a little bit clunky at times. We've got to be careful of it, really. Just to sort of see what all happens with it. Wing scoops. Go Captain Peter and static. Engine 2 RPM's looking a little bit higher. Sure it'll sort itself out. Sim-Wings Anchorage is a spectacular bit of scenery. It's a vast area anyway at the best of times, but that in conjunction with the Orbx Alaska, you get just absolutely breathtaking scenery around here. It is really, really spectacular. So we're going to get some great views throughout today. We kind of did this the other day as a bit of a demo flight sort of thing, and we had thick cloud throughout. So today we've got really nice light cloud coverage, which is going to give us some great views for our departure and for the flight up to Nome today. It's going to be very nice. California says, yes, I said hello to you already. Alberto, well, Joep requested the route today. There's an Alaska 737 there. And he's very much a fan at the moment of Everts Air, so I thought we'd go real, we'd go do it proper. Although in real life at the moment this is actually done on an MD-83 from Everts Air, so we don't actually get a DC-6 on this particular route. But this is flight sim. We've had an equipment change. Today we need a DC-6. Okay, we're getting close, so we'll do the before takeoff checks. Look at that sunrise. Jonathan, I did think that might have been you. Awesome.
Main tanks and crossfeed off.
Peekaboo.
Autopilot and carbide. Off and cold. Hydraulic system. Down, forward, pressure and quantity checked. Okay. Flaps 20.
There's the flap deployment. There you go, Centuria. The route used to be flown by the DC-6. Very exciting. It's a cool route. It's a very cool route.
Controls. Gust lock released. Free. Potato. On. Mixture and cold flaps.
You need to use the AFE really, unless you're really good and you can do the pilot's job, the flight engineers and the co-pilot's jobs. It takes 3 people just to try and get working. Wesley, hello.
Extended and on. Before takeoff checks complete.
Look at that, perfectly timed. Anchorage traffic, Everts 880's lining up runway 33 for an Anchorage 9 departure to FFITZ. Anchorage traffic. Auto feather worries me. We've had that problem last time I flew this thing. It's just too much to do though, Zato. It's great you can manage, but yeah, it's a tough one. Oh yeah, I think the livery does exist. Look at that! Look at that prop lighting there with the light bouncing off it. It's incredible. Squeaky brakes. Final setup then. Now we're under £80,000, so
runway 33 at Anchorage on Kilo. Anchorage traffic.
V2 plus 10 is going to be 111, V1 at 83.
30 inches stabilize.
On the brakes,
30 inches stabilize.
Anchorage traffic Everts 880, DC-6 taking off, runway 33, Anchorage 9 departure. William Kelly is the Phoenix weird AI model. It's the Phoenix A320 basically.
30 inches stabilized. Cal flaps. Cal flaps. Cal flaps set. Full power.
Osprey 04 Anchorage traffic after
Off the brakes.
departing
Going to full power now.
From wait for an Anchorage 9 departure.
Johnny takeoff.
Full power set.
Bit of a confusing view really. You need to see the panel. V1 already. It should now start to, ever so slowly, take itself off basically. We don't really rotate, it's not an airliner. There we go. Gears up, being retracted by the flight engineer. Slight course deviation there, let's just fight to make sure we're back on track. Look at that folks, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And the view. Oh, hello. We're waiting for Mito power in a minute.
Flaps up. Flaps going up.
301. There we go.
Retail power.
There we go.
16 meter power, 48 inches, 2600 RPM.
Now 1,000 feet per minute climb is what we want. Okay, we're really far left. We've got to go left
Retail
now.
power set. Climb power. Setting climb power.
Osprey 094 Anchorage traffic, departing runway 33 for Anchorage 9 departure. Anchorage traffic.
Climb power set. After takeoff checklist, please.
Ah, good old Sim. Doing its own weird thing.
After takeoff checks complete.
The problem with the Sim's GPS is it turns around and goes, you know what? I know you want to go to FFITZ, but I want to go back to the airport you've just taken off from. Which is really annoying. So, I'm going to set my initial course here, like that. Now I need to go direct. I'll see what we're doing as well. Hand flying. Ta-da! Enter P8, activate. There we are. So, let's go to the gyro pilot. What are we doing on the climb? About 1,000 foot, that'll do. That's all looking fine, and we want to go to gyro pilot. So, put the clutch on. And we go to localizer mode, which is now GPS. Approach ready, love it. There's no approach to fly. Where we go? Mild panic there when it didn't do anything when I wanted to. Look at that. Here we go. Oh, magical. How's that for a sunrise? Looks like we're going to get some really good views today throughout the journey to Nome. Plenty of scenery to kind of try and observe. All the screenshots will go on Blanter as always. How are we doing here? Can never take your eye off it too much. 6,000 at the moment. That's looking fine. Just bring that rate of climb down a little bit to actually allow us to accelerate a bit more. We need to go to this. Want to be climbing above 160 really, so we're just going to monitor, fiddle around with the gyro pilot. That speed's starting to creep up now, away from the white band, which is good. White is not good for us with no flaps. There we go. Get up and away. That climb rate is increasing again because it wants to just fly. David, I know, can't believe it. I'm getting there, I'm trying to remember stuff. Califrames says, did you activate GPS mode with the localizer or frequency mode in the knob? So you have to activate the gyro pilot first in gyro pilot mode, which is this one. Once it's all stable, then you flick it to localizer, and providing that you have that saying GPS there, which it would do if you've changed CDI to GPS instead of VLOC, you'll be fine. It is, it's a raw machine, isn't it? Gotta try and control that climb rate. $8,000 feet. Look at that. We can cycle through all of the included showcase cameras. Oh. There's Liam, just passing below in the A320. Got that on a screenshot as well. Good timing. Andy, good afternoon. Welcome. Hope you're okay. We got the dirty wing views as well. Porting arrival at Nome's runway 21. Fantastic. So that means we're good for the ILS. Oh. There's Liam again, just through the propellers there. Engine 4, just climbing away beyond it. Wonderful. William, each engine has got its own separate control basically. The only thing I've never been able to do is on touchdown work out what keybind goes to the reverse gust lock thing that it's got. So if we go back to the flight deck here, here we go. So when we touch down, we activate this bar, which takes away like the reverse lock that's on the throttle system. It means then we can reverse the prop power. It's kind of basically like a reverse function, effectively. That's what it is, and we can stop very quickly with it. But I haven't worked out the keybind for it at the moment, so no idea. Keep clicking the like button through today, folks. Water tiller, was it? Ooh, What's the default keybind for that? On the keyboard. Might be able to activate that way. Climb rate's still good. Speed's come up now, it's about 180, this is looking better. And the beauty of the GPS is it takes a lot of pressure away from you. After departure though, you have to do a direct to your first waypoint, because it's just, the way this works in the sim is not very clever. Oh yeah, I won't try it now, David. Check our engine powers and stuff. Cylinder head temperature's looking a bit cool. Carb temperature's looking good. Carb de-icer is on at the moment. Oil pressure's green, all temperature's looking yellow. But actually, it's ever so slightly above the green arc, so we'll monitor it. Oh, David, I forgot, didn't I? Casey reckons it's just a plus on the numpad. Yeah, the real 430 is a lot simpler. What I have in the PA28 when I fly at Denham. So, yeah, not too bad at all. On some of them anyway, some of the aircraft have got them fitted. Through 10,000 now, folks. So, where is it? Where is it? There it is. Landing lights are already off and retracted. Two on should be a straight in approach from the NDBA, shouldn't it? Oh no, 2-1, not 2-8. Ah, I was thinking 2-8, whoops. William, yeah, well the NDB that we've tuned a little further on is where we're going to fly basically soon. Fort Davis, FDV 529 for the frequency of the NDB. That'll become active when we get a bit closer to the airfield. Oh yeah, runway 21. I've not done this one before. That's less taxiing though, that's good. You want to see NDB 350 come alive. Where are we now? 13,000 feet. So now we need to think about superchargers, folks. Therefore, we go to the AFE, we turn him off. What's power set to at the moment? 40. We need to reduce to about, oops, that's my throttle setting that's done us there. Reduce to about 30. Bring that rate of climb right off a second. And we go numbers 2 and 3. Superchargers engines 2 and 3 are now on and alive. Make sure they're both stable at 40. Engines are looking good still. Looking at all the engine T's and P's. And then we're going to go engines 1 and 4 on the superchargers for a big surge in power. That vertical speed now starting to go up 500 foot per minute. Making sure now we stabilise all the engines around about 40 inches. Manifold pressure. If I can make sure they're nice and accurate. Controlling each of the 4 props independently today with the Velocity 1 yoke. The one thing with the Gyropilot is it kind of uses a bit of a default system for the autopilot system here. Is when we activate altitude control to try and hold the altitude, it will be plus or minus about 100 feet of that target. but it'll be a bit messy. It won't be perfect. What's that set to at the moment? It's 10 to 0. We've got to be colder than that now on the free air. About -5. So up here we weave. We need to pop final warming to that setting. Happy days. Now I'm back at 180 again. Grayson, hello. Good point. Centuria, where is our compass deviation card? Can't see one. Certainly not next to the compass. $14,500 feet. 1.5 to go. And we're going to cruise to about 230, 220 knots. She's a slow girl. Thousand below. Automated, good morning. 60. For those that don't know, the tiny little arrow there, the tiny little finger needle, is the 10,000s. So we're at over 10,000 feet at the moment. That becomes active, starts to wind around, and it can easily be misinterpreted against the smaller 1,000 needle there as well. So 10,000s, 1,000s, 100s. Going to start to bring this rate of climb down a little bit. $400. $300. Oh, Centuria, absolutely no idea. Racing it is very complicated, yeah. It's old school flying. It takes 3 pilots in real life. Nerd, so I've got the general aviation prop lever actually used as a bind. So this is what happens now with altitude control, folks. I click it, it starts to go all crazy. Trying to stabilise itself. Actually, that's as good as we're going to get, I think. Let it settle. I believe it's settled there.
Set cruise power, please. Setting cruise power.
That 150 MEP, I think goes down to about 30-ish, 35 on the manifold pressure.
Set.
Yeah, our drone camera keeps starting to tilt itself. I know, it's insane. I was quite keen to do this route today as well because obviously Alaska, the mesh from Orbx was very broken post SEM update 9. And what it meant was getting all sorts of terrain spikes and issues. Some users were reporting crash to desktops, so they managed to fix it. They've fixed each product in turn. The Alaska mesh has now been updated. It now works with all post SEM update 9, which is quite cool. So I thought, what better way to A, return to Anchorage. The Sim-Wings Anchorage is very cool. We've only used it twice, I think, in the stream. Or perhaps once. And then we've not used the DC-6 in well over 6, 7, 8 months. So why not dust off the old girl, take the sheets off, give it a go. I can imagine it's really expensive around this part of the world, Centura, yeah. I cruise at about 195 knots today. What other showcase views do we have here? Oh, look at that tail cam. Oh, we're about to do a bombing run. Combat Flight Simulator. Belly cam. Oh, who was that? Where? How do we go back in here? There we go. I think that might have been Jonathan overtaking us. No, that's Liam. Curious to know, Liam, what am I displayed as? Yuli in Indonesia, good evening to you, welcome. Keith, hello. Sorry, not sorry. Oh, dog, awesome. I was just going on some advice Joep mentioned about where it all departs from and everything else, so I figured we'd go from the Everts base and the scenery. Oh, Badger, very cool. Yeah, this is actually done in that MD-83 in real life, so if you've got an Everts Cargo MD-82, it's not far wrong different, is it? Steve, hello. How's the 600 paints coming along? I was hoping actually today would be the day that I would be able to enjoy the 600 with a bit of a preview, but we're a couple of days away, I think, from us being able to preview it ourselves here. Very excited to see what it offers though. Yuli, yeah, this is a DC-6, very old school. Our two winners of the channel merch the other day as well, Rav Gangura and FFITZ in Germany, both your orders have been shipped today, so they should be with you in the next couple of weeks. Steve, awesome. Is there going to be an SAS livery for the 600? He says you should check out my Everts blue canoe for correct wings. Ah, I didn't know. I wish I did. Should probably do a little engine check here. And we're all green ticked. Happy days. Yeah, one thing I really remember with this is when you get above 13,000 and you go to turn the superchargers on, if you don't reduce the throttle to about 30, turn them on, you'll basically surge the engines, you'll blow the manifolds. They'll be well over pressure, so you end up losing the engines very quickly then, and you'll find that the engines will fail within about 5 seconds. Ah, Liam, no worries. Okay, Steve, awesome. I should be checking my mailbox for the rest of the day anyway. Hopefully we can fit in a preview stream tomorrow before I go back to work. If not, it's going to be Tuesday before a night shift. But it all depends when it's going to be released as well. Certainly very nice, it certainly looks very good. It's a sporty aircraft. There's an issue with the sim in a way, because it should apparently be light all the time this time of year in Anchorage, being so far north. Thus, spawning in with live time and it being pitch black is actually incorrect. Look at that. Awesome. You need to add one for the water rudder. I think I must have done one. But I can't think what it is. Like Control Shift W or something like that. Oh well, I might have to land and then dare to quickly look down without steering. Liam, yeah, the 800's on track for a potential release late August. But this is software development, so anything could happen, of course. Total about 2 hours, Yuli. Although I've noticed actually Fly Life Studio is broken again, so let me refresh it. The top of the screen should then have an ETA and things. That's better. 1 hour 29 to go apparently. Control W, David. I think that might be similar to mine. Because I'm sure I've used it for some of the aeroplanes too. Clow, why don't you record the landing to look at it after? Because the sim can be very unstable with a lot of replays mods. So sometimes I do, it depends entirely on what aircraft that I'm using. I would be very tempted to do it in this today, so I might replay the landing, see what happens. Just don't let me forget a little bit nearer to the time to fire up Sky Dolly so it's all ready. I've had a couple of issues with Flight Recorder, that's why I've ended up starting to use Sky Dolly instead. I went through a phase of a lot of crashed desktops with various aircraft, all due to Flight Recorder. Jonathan, interesting, weird. And you've got the Navigraph nav data installed, right? Mind you, perhaps it's not in the scenery. Then if you've got Navigraph nav data installed in the sim as well, I guess that kind of trumps that idea. Trying to get a nice little screenshot here. Look at that. We've got some epic screenshots, folks, on Volanta now being uploaded throughout this journey. Jeff, Orbx mesh flexing hard. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Sure, I bet this was an incredible place to grow up. Look at this for a cockpit view. If we just go away here and move away slightly, look at that. So many dials. Liam, yeah, I'll just leave it as it is now. I took a bit of a gamble with 16,000 feet for cruise as well, so we are not on 1013. So we're not flying to flight levels or anything like that, but actually quite surprised we've managed to hold this quite nicely. Is that Jonathan? Don't know what that is, it could be Liam again. Please don't stall into me. All green still, happy days. That's all looking good. -10 on the air. See, carb air is a tricky one, right? If I do this now, in fact I know what I can do. Turn him off. Carb air. Let's go back to engine stress visualizer. Carburetor temperature's green though. Alright, we won't fiddle. We won't fiddle. So we've passed FFITZ, we're inbound McGrath now, which is on a frequency of 1155. It's a TAC, VOR TAC. Generic pilot, hello. 70 miles, 250 knots on the ground speed there. I think it was that TAS, I forget. I think it's ground speed. 17 minutes to that, and then we're going to turn further west towards Unk. We've got to work out roughly when we're going to be 80 miles away from the airfield, because then we need to start our descent. Probably about 100 miles prior actually, to give us that little bit of extra time to play with. Potentially I was going to do this at flight level 220, and I think if we did, we might have been in that cloud almost. So it's quite a good choice of cruise altitude today, 16,000. There's no charted procedures for the runway we're going to use. In fact, Jonathan, it's not 03 that we want. I think you might have missed the bit in the chat earlier on. We're going to now be landing on 21. So it's a visual approach, basically, / circling approach. Bit of turbulence, leaving the mountains. Exactly, Zato, it's pretty spectacular scenery for us really at this altitude. Jeff, I've flown it, it's just not quite the same. It has been updated and improved slightly. It's a little bit less arcadey, but still I don't think it quite trumps the DC-6. Is that the latest METAR now, Jonathan? Because I'm just going by whatever Doc said in the chat earlier. I've not actually looked at the METAR. Doc said there's real aircraft landing on 2-1 now. Bear with me. Let's have a look. We need the proper METAR really, don't we? METAR PAOM. Yeah, 3507. We'll have one more METAR update at 1353Z-ish. I mean, to be honest, I was hoping for runway 27, the ILS approach, but I don't think it's going to happen for us now, is it? Yeah, and lots that can go wrong as well, generic pilot. I can't see any aircraft that are flying into this, so into Nome at the moment. I have no idea what the real active is. VATSIM now says it's 10 knots at 10 degrees. Jeez. It's very variable then, isn't it? It keeps changing. I think Doc had 210 at 3 a minute ago as well, so I'm not sure. I'd imagine with the lack of procedures, they're not going to want to use 2-1 for too long. Look at that. A river cascading off through the mountains there. I don't know which to believe either. We'll end up picking wrong anyway. It's usually how simming goes, isn't it? So Jura could call the ASOS for us. I think Doc saw an aeroplane on flight radar land on 2-1 was it about 20 minutes ago, so I think it's probably safe to say we could go with that, but it depends on what METAR we get on the hour coming up. Actually, there we go. Yeah, I've actually got a METAR on V-Pilot now. 010 degrees at 10 knots. 10 statute miles, clear visibility, 11 degrees Celsius, dew point +4, altimeter 3011, which I need to convert. .019. Oh yeah, that's not refreshed that quick, has it? It's 11:53. So it means the wind's veering, not backing. .30 or 3503. Actually, we can use 28 then, can't we? Wind's 350 at 7 knots, runway 28's in play. Because it's almost similarly angled crosswind, so we could do ILS Yankee runway 28 approach with that METAR, right? 350 at 7, I wouldn't want to necessarily do 2-1 with that, because that's landing with a tailwind by choice, which is not great. 7 knots in a DC-6. I'm not sure how that would work out for us. But like, yeah, if you kind of split that down the middle, 03 and 28 haven't got much. According to the NOTAMs, runway 10 and 28 are closed. That's the only one with an ILS. Ooh. Question is, do we ignore the NOTAMs because we're on flight sim? That's where Doc falls off his chair now and spits out his drink. Can't do that. Right, it's 03 then, isn't it? 28's closed. Which means I've got a hand flyer visual approach. So those of you in the airliners, you want the RNAV runway 03 or RMV 03 or RMP 03, depends on how it's written on your flight computer. By Marie and Gloop, which we can't do, so we have to do something entirely different. Centuria, so tried it the other day, didn't work for us at all very well. With this, it's this GPS that's the issue. We added it in and then it sent me back to Anchorage. Well, yeah, Doc, it does, but it gives us a 7 knot tailwind, or 6 knot tailwind. Which we don't want to do. Not in this anyway, not confident enough to land it with a strong tailwind yet. Especially if the wind's variable. The tailwind with a crosswind, it could get interesting. 6 knots of crosswind, good grief. Seven five. Twiddle that around. So we're not actually going to move the OBS in a way, because we can move this, it won't do anything because we're actually using the GPS today. 5 minutes from MCG, McGrath, and then UNK is going to be the next one, 1169. Why does it still think we're going to FFITZ? This is the problem with this awful system. So we're at MSCG in a minute. I'm not going to touch anything. I want to see what it does. That cloud looks like it's dropping. Jonathan's gone past. The hell? Looks like the servers on Microsoft Flight Simulator are struggling again. There's Jonathan, just see him. There's literally a little speck there of lights. Strobe lights that are flashing at 380. Oh Jesus. Damn, you're making me get stressed. Made me jump. Right, what were we doing? Literally was in the middle of where are we? So yeah, MCG's coming up. We've got to make sure. We've got to see what this does in a minute because it's a right mess. See what happens in a second. What is going on with that? I think the flight sim servers might be going down perhaps, just as we're going into IMC. Let's check. Right, carb, ice, property ISF heaters are all on. Online services have gone down in the sim. Brilliant. Well done, Microsoft. Well done, Asobo. What is going on today? It's going on wildfire, isn't it? Icing's all gone there. Pop wing lights on as well because we want to. Oh, we don't need it really. We're not going to actually see any. Okay. MCG 6.3 nautical miles, so we should go a very slight left turn in a second. Outbound 276 degrees track, I think. Yeah, we're still connected to VATSIM, Liam. It's a completely separate network. Little bit of PC for us, Matthew. Ah, nerd, I did not know that. That sounds very good. Maybe that's worth us trying. Yikes. Oh, we're literally at the cloud base. Jim, hello. Yeah, weird we're getting these disconnections. There's obviously some kind of system glitch going on. Okay, so now what I'm expecting, we need to be careful here, see what this does. We're expecting a left turn here at the MCG VOR, the VOR TAC. And if this angular bank goes anything beyond sort of 5-10 degrees either side, we're in trouble. Because then it's doing its own thing, which is not good. If in doubt though, we'll go old school, we'll track it the old way. Well, apparently we've passed it. We haven't turned though. Ah, stupid thing. It's just as clunky, or less clunky in real life, because you can actually, you know what you're doing as you're doing it. There we go. Crikey. That's now refreshed. And that's now finally refreshed within the flight plan. Good. Lovely stuff. Let's clear the cursor. Almost 6.9. Let's switch it. Still in a bit of IFR. Got to watch the altitude here, because it does kind of, when it does turn, it does kind of lose its ability to hold the altitude properly. 33 minutes, so probably about 45 minutes to landing then really. 50 minutes to landing. This is an hour on the Fly Life Studio. I think by all accounts the DC-6 is going to be coming back to Xbox. Those of you who use Xbox, alongside the 737 around maybe November, December time. They're working on a lot of improvements and updates to make it all work, make it happen. PMDG do want to bring their product line to Xbox. Very exciting for those of you who use it. They're an incredible development team. Look at that, wow. See that river meandering all the way around here. It was just a road stuff as it goes. It will cut off and create all these little islands, which are what all these little pockets are. These little tiny lakes are where it's cut off in the past. There's an airfield, which is Takeoff airstrip. We've lost that little bit of cloud there as well, which is good. Haha, Centurio, that's what I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do. Whether I pull it off or not, it's an entirely different matter. But hey, we've still got the engines on. I've got to remember through descent, or through the approach, sorry, we've got to go to, is it 90 BMEP, short final 65-ish. and then slowly to idle for the touchdown without really flaring. Also nice. What coffee do you drink, by the way? Out of curiosity. Is it proper stuff, or is it the pretend to be proper stuff like myself, an espresso?
Level 160 to 3, sorry, to 240.
Nice. Oh, Centurion, I meant BMEP. Approach speed is going to be, ooh, I don't know, say £65,000, £64,000 roughly. First of the plaque. Oh, okay, we'll round it to 75. Approach speed of 128, VREF of 99 knots. So it's not far. Oh, it's literally 30 knots faster than the PA-28s that I fly, which is crazy. Shows you how inefficient the PA-28 is though with a wing, because it's got to fly 65 knots on short final. And that's only 95 knots and 70,000 pounds. It's hugely heavier, massively heavier. Oh, Jonathan, good choice. That's what I've got. I've got the Everts Air machine. It's very cool. There's some really nice Papua New Guinea coffee at the moment that they do. I think for an aircraft at its age, the aerodynamic capabilities of the DC-6 are just remarkable, because it can fly so low and slow with such a heavy, clunky aeroplane. But I guess it's down to the wings, the design of the wings, perhaps. It still flies at the moment around Alaska because of how good it is in this environment. So I guess it's a testament to how good the design actually is all those years ago. Centurion, very true, very true. You could, you know, but the question is, can you stop in time? The dash cam. There we go. Nice to see the cloud base has just kind of trickled away to about 18,000, so it's not much further. It's a good job we didn't go for 220 for today's flight level cruise. We would have struggled, I think. So from UNK, we're looking about 60 miles, I think. 64 Golos, 64, 70, 80. Okay, so it's about 100 miles. So at UNK is pretty much where we want to begin our descent. Andy, good effort. Show you guys the Navigraph charts. There's our journey at the moment, kind of just beyond halfway. It's a slow aeroplane, but we were planning for that. The NOTAMs in real life say that the actual runway is closed at the moment, so therefore, boom, we're not going to do it. So it leaves us with this option. It gives us about 7 knot crosswind, RNAV runway 3. Now, GPS really struggles with it, really struggles with it. So what we'll probably end up doing is this, NDBA. So we're going to fly towards Nome, 1150, down to about 1,700 feet, levelling off, trying to hold that altitude at Fort Davis NDB, 529 degrees. Between these two, really, I want to be turning south out over the water to fly effectively what is basically joining the downwind leg of a circuit. And then we're going to fly round onto base. Depending on how well I've timed it, we're either going to do a military style base leg, which will be a continuous turn all the way around 180 degrees back towards the runway, or we'll fly that more square civilian style circuit instead with a more prominent base leg that kind of independent of final rather than it all merge into one. But we'll see what happens. We'll just have to make that call as and when it happens, really. We'll try and keep visual with the runway at all times. Bit tricky in this though, there's a lot to handle, a lot to manage, and we'll just see what happens. Taxi charts though, 03, over the water, onto 03. We will probably have to backtrack. We'll touch down, probably need a couple of minutes for separation with everybody else. Especially in this, the backtrack and head all the way down to hotel, probably bug out at hotel, cross at Foxtrot, onto the FBO ramp down the bottom, and we'll go down to this little bottom here was Bering Aerospace. We'll probably shut down this section of the airfield. Easy peasy, he says. Probably not in practice. Our base has dropped now to almost 16,000 feet. Andrew, hello, thanks for your super chat, buddy. Good morning to you. There it is, it's caught up.
Good to see you're in different aircraft.
Thanks for the super chat, Andrew, appreciate it. Really generous of you. And yeah, nice to go for something different today. There we are. Voice has been a bit problematic these last couple of days. So yeah, definitely nice to use something a bit different, dust off the old girl and try the DC-6. It's been quite a while. And it is great fun to fly. It's tough, it's challenging, it's difficult, it's unforgiving if you make too many mistakes as well. Harry, good afternoon. Doc says you've got to enter the cargo ramp from taxiway Golf. Ah, well that's contradictory to what Joep told me the other day, but that's fine, we'll do that then if that's the case. We'll go to Golf instead. We've got warnings of taxiway Foxtrot soft surface. So I guess we'll vacate hotel, We'll taxi around that little apron, round to past the fire station and the windsock to cargo ramps. Yeah, Andy, absolutely. Would love to see some Twin Otter flights. We were on about that the other day, actually, as well. Certainly overdue, aren't we? We'll have to think of a little route to go and take the Twin Otter on and go and explore somewhere. On a little multiplayer group flight or something on the MSFS servers, perhaps. Literally skimming the cloud. BKG Blueface, not entirely true. After the 737NG variants are done, 777 will be moving towards beta. It may be in beta at that point, it may not be, but once the 900 elements to the 737NG are complete, so we'll have the 600, the 700, the 600, the 800, the 900. From there, we can really look forward to the 777. But again, as always, it's software development, things can change. Who knows? A little bit of ice on the front of the prop. Jeez. Harry, whoa. Yeah. You've got to pay import tariffs on all that sort of stuff, sadly. It gets very expensive very quickly. Wrong way, Feldham, hello. Does the rolling cash work? Mine doesn't seem to be. When you say it doesn't seem to, what are you experiencing? What's happening on your sim? Back into some IMC, a bit of pea soup for the remainder. Yeah, Andrew, 16 and above in the UK, you can go to, you can go solo. I think it depends on the school, but I think as long as you've had 5 or 10 hours, I think 10 hours tends to be a technical minimum limit for most. 10 hours and 10 hours? I did mine in 8. Actually, to be fair, but then I remembered a lot from years ago, so they had a bit of an argument, my instructor against the CFI, and the instructor basically told it that basically I'd be wasting money if I did another 2 hours just to tick a box. So I got the opportunity to go solo a little quicker. It depends entirely on the school, really, and the country that you're training in. Centuria there says 20 in the US. I think 10 might be the legal limit in the UK for flying solo, but I had my logbook from years ago, which I'd continued, so even though they didn't count towards my PPL, I still had flying time, flying experience that I could use, which is how they kind of got around it, even though it was about 15 years prior to my last flight. Andrew, yeah, well, sadly I've not flown in almost 10 weeks now because I've run out of money basically. We're moving house, it's drained every penny away from me, so flying has had to go onto the back burner. No PPL for the foreseeable short-term future at least. Yeah, 1500 for ATP in the UK as well, Centurio, or for frozen ATPL. How is the Phoenix on frames per second? It's not the best. It is not the best, I'll be honest. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, it's not the best on frames. Fly-by-wire tends to be a bit smoother, as we discussed yesterday. But the PMDG 737 is by far my smoothest aircraft in the sim. Liam, I have no idea what you're doing to work that out, but sounds like my stats for Osprey Airways are going to be carnage after today. Grayson, I would love to, but it's I'm £110,000 short of being able to afford that, to be honest. Pikachu Blueface, I'm not actually sure what variant the PMDG 747 is going to be. I'd like to think it would be the 400, but I have no idea. Rav, awesome. Wickham Air Park with BA's Flying Club, which is now long gone, sadly. He's in the A320 that keeps going, buzzing past the Centurio. Steve saying, in relation to PMDG's release schedule, expected release dates can change. They've been very clear with this as well, actually. A lot of people misinterpreting it, a lot of news stuff intentionally misinterpreting things to get reactions from people reading, rather unfairly, I think, in my opinion. But yeah, expected release dates can change. Beta testing, as he's saying there, is not an exact science, and during beta something could have, like the 737-700, during the beta phase, the flat 40 bug suddenly became a thing, and therefore it required some additional fixing. These things can push it all back, and it's better than just releasing something, as Steve's saying there, and then everybody complaining about it. Might as well get it right first time. Andrew, if I lived on Vancouver Island, I could get you enough work so that you could fly more often. I work minimum 50 hours a week, 6 days a week, sometimes 60 hours a week, all with ruptured disc in my back. Good grief, that sounds horrendous. How do you manage with that? I'm familiar with the hour. I do pretty similar hours myself, not through choice. Oh, look at that ice slowly building up there. That is a worry. I don't think there's a control for that. We've got prop de-icer on. That's all on. Temperature has dropped a little bit. 46 miles to Unk. Okay, that's not bad actually. Centurion, that's not too far different. I think, yeah, it's a tough one. In the UK, I think the equivalent now would be about $22,000 for a PPL in the UK. It's just crazy money now.
Osprey 094 descending, flight level 160.
16,000 Australian dollars at Deer's local school for a PPL. That is incredible money. That is awesome. That is £9,169 in UK money. Centurio, exactly, nail on the head there. So developers like PMDG and everybody else, they're trying to create products that are incredibly high fidelity, really immersive, really enjoyable, full of detail and complexity, in a sim that is constantly changing and being updated with lots of tweaks and improvements being made all the time. So they're constantly having to refine their tools, refine their working practices, change things that might be broken due to an update because things might change slightly in the sim. They've got their work cut out. BKG, well, if you're in the UK, or if you're in Europe, in fact, Wizz Air are now doing a bit of a sponsorship scheme. You've got to go to, I think, Bulgaria or Greece for 2 years, and it's an integrated ATPL sponsored by them, and all you've got to do is put up €15,000. Then you've got to pay for all your accommodation, transport, all that sort of your cost of living. You've got to pay for that as well. But they will pay for the rest of your training. However, you will be bonded to Wizz Air for a minimum of 5 years, and your take-home pay will pretty much be a couple of £100 after everything they deduct for the training costs, which is pretty awful, but it depends, I guess, how cheaply you could live, where you would be based, and all that sort of stuff, and how quickly you could get out. But if you leave before the 5 years, you end up paying back a significant portion of money, crazy amount of money. Yeah, a lot of schools in the UK will send students out to franchises in New Zealand and Florida. Tends to be the going thing, doesn't it? Jonathan, that's crazy. You'd just do it on Musk then, wouldn't you? Yeah, you could consider taking out a bank loan as well. You can do the current sort of well-established way of going via BPVA bank and getting a second charge against your mortgage on your house, your parents' house, but that's a huge risk. Andy, interesting. It's about time. It's just frustrating because those of us who tried to pursue the dream 5-10 years ago were just shut out by the airlines, and all of a sudden now they've gone, oh, we don't have enough pilots. So part of me will be a little bit devastated, I think, if airlines will start to bring back sponsorships. Plus, a lot of the barriers are too high for some of them, degrees and things like that. For those folk in sort of my age range, into the 30s now, life begins to take over. So it becomes unreasonable for you to then go and do an airline sponsorship. Virgin they've been tinkering with some of the sponsorship things over the last couple of years. They've got a pilot scheme at the moment, as well as BA as well, but they're not really sponsorship schemes. You've still got to pay for it yourself, and there's still no guarantee that there's a job at the end of it. Also, you might not get to the end of training. You might get through the training up to a certain point and then really struggle. At that point, you've got to pay them back. It's silly little things like, so the current schemes available for Virgin, BA and all that sort of stuff, they've now, so basically you go to a place like Oxford or CAE, or is it leading edge aviation or whatever they've changed their name to now as well, and you've got to go to an assessment day. But if you want to actually take part in the assessment day to see if you've got the skills to become a pilot and get on the course, you've got to pay like £500. And that's a risk if you haven't really got that money. It's quite a risk, just to see if you meet the standard or not. Yeah, Jesus Centurio, I think it's not too dissimilar then really, but without paying out anything at the end. They may or may not give you a contract at the end, basically. Okay. Almost at UNK. Andrew, not thought of that, to be honest. I get worried about things like fundraising and all that sort of stuff, because it can breed a lot of toxicity from people, a lot of hatred from people. But it can be a very good, helpful thing as well. That's it, Jeff. A lot of us now, our passion of aviation has to live within the flight sim world. If we're lucky enough to just about afford to get a PPL together, we can get that done, that's great. If not, it's down a flight sim. Centurio, so I was just going on to navigation. So I've still got to do a couple of the exams. So I think 5 more exams to get out of the way. And I was going on to navigational training. So I was literally right at the end, and then I just needed to hours build. So I was about 65–70% of the way through. Also got the house move out the way. I'm hoping I'll be able to put more money back into it all. And that's their problem with their business model, really, because they're a Virgin's a tiny airline anyway. It's only got 30-something aeroplanes. You look at BA, by stark contrast, with over 200 aircraft. They've got this beautiful mix of short haul and long haul, lots of different aircraft types, and you can sort of chop and change throughout your career. Peter, hello. Still not 100%. Still can't hear properly out my right ear, bizarrely. 45 hours minimum, Centurio. That's where the hours building for me will have to come into it, because I'm only about 25 hours in, but I've whistled so far through it. Navigation will probably get me to about 35-ish hours by the end of it, having done my qualifying cross-country and everything else. And then I'll need to hours build for about 10 hours. Paying for an instructor sat on the ground whilst I'm flying around to hours build so I can do my check flight. I was kind of kicking myself because I was hoping I would be done by now so I could get some flights in through the summer and enjoy summer in the air. I had this wonderful plan of flying to Blackpool and back with a mate who's also got a PPL who I work with. That was my little plan in the back of my mind anyway. Flying to Blackpool, get some chips, and then fly back. All the way through, there's a corridor, VFR corridor between Manchester and Liverpool that's really tricky, and I wanted to throw myself into that at some point, give it a go. Geronimo is looking to start his ATPL next year. It's going to have to go to the bank for funding. Hopefully there'll be good opportunities. If you can get it done in the next 2-3 years, I think you're going to be good. I think it would be good timing for you, and I certainly wouldn't be pessimistic. $1,500 hours for the frozen ATPL though, don't forget. Airlines won't touch you otherwise. What are we doing now? OME 1155, flick. Before 147 miles to go. 35 minutes, folks. ADF2's tracking. About right, actually. Andy, yeah, it is. Helicopter licenses, I think you're looking almost 15 grand for a helicopter PPL now in the UK. Even more money. Crazy cash. Right, 529. Back into IMC. Geronimo, so at the moment, a lot of airlines have got this set thing. They've had it for years and years and years and years. You have to have 1,500 hours of multi-crew experience, I think it is, or instructional hours, that sort of thing, for you to be eligible to apply to join them. Again, it depends on the airlines. Let's go onto the BA Careers website here, because I know they are recruiting for pilots at the moment. Search jobs. They're recruiting tons. I just want pilot category, driver. There we go. Direct entry first officer. There we go. So they've changed this now. To apply, you must hold a current type rating with a minimum of 500 hours or 100 sectors on a 0 flight time qualifying aircraft. So they're desperate, but they kind of don't want you unless you've flown for another airline previously already with a number of hours on an aeroplane that they already have in their fleet. And then if you apply for something like second officer roles with a company like EasyJet or Wizz Air or even BA, you're looking at £20,000 a year starting salary. Yeah, Centurion, I think it's the same here in the UK. As I understand it, the CAA frozen ATPL unfreezes and allows you to legally get the ATPL license and the rating around it at 1,500 hours. You're going to spend at least 120 grand on the training, and then you're going to need to hours build on top of that. So you're looking like £200,000, really, just to become eligible to apply for a lot of these airlines. And like Charpentier is saying there, before the 1,500 hour mark, most pilots generally, like Centurio, prime example, perfect example, become flight instructors to gain enough hours. Geronimo, yes, it is possible. It is possible, but again, it depends on your finances. It all comes down to how much money you can afford for your flight training. if you've got very wealthy parents, because it is a rich man's game at the end of the day, or they're willing to take a substantial second charge loan on their mortgage on a, which is basically the aviation training bank loans you can get through BBVA are basically a second mortgage on your house. So if you end up with your parents doing that, they end up having to pay 2 mortgages, which is insane. That's a huge burden. I couldn't ask my parents to do that. Yeah, and it depends on what hours you've got and what airline and all that stuff. But as I mentioned, that's a first officer starting salary. But I don't think it is 55. I think it's nearer to 35 to 40. To be last time I checked. Second officers though generally low experience and thus get paid even less. This is now unreliable, so we shan't use it. DME.
Altimeters and flight instruments cross-checked. Seatbelt signs on. On.
5011.
Engine low is low.
Ah, that's why.
Low. Descent checks are complete.
There it goes. The Zinger, 96. Lovely. Don't want to descend too fast. The other thing you've got to bear in mind if you're in the UK for pilot license stuff now is what sort of license do you want to get at the end of your training? And that's quite a big one because you can, and we just change this, so we want 30 for now. You can end up with an EASA license if you go and do the training in Europe, or you will end up with a UK ATPL if you do the training in the UK. If you do it in America, it will be an FAA one. It's a complex beast. Let's try and cross that off so it's just angled across. There we go. We just have the one VOR then and the one ADF both tracking. Andrew, fantastic. Third place at Silverstone, that's amazing. No worries, have a good day. It's 1,500 hours in the UK as well, Information Alpha, but the BA job advert we just discussed, you can only apply if you've already been working for another airline, i.e. EasyJet, Ryanair, Jet2, that sort of thing, and you've already got hours on type. But if you work for Ryanair or Ryanair or Jet2, you can't apply to join BA because they don't have 737s in their fleet. So you're only eligible if you apply to work from somewhere like EasyJet with an A320, and you could do a straight swap across. Or if you want to go from Virgin Atlantic to British Airways, fly their A350 or their 787, because you then already have a type rating for their aircraft with a minimum of 500 hours. Is tough. BA have basically said we're not that desperate for pilots. That's how I read that. Ah, wind's calm now at Nome. Lovely stuff. 10 statute miles, clear skies, 10 degrees, 4 degrees, dew point 3010, which is 1019 on the QNH. Jeff, yeah, just one leg today. It's long enough. I'm still not 100% better. Well, yeah, information alpha, yes, but I guess their argument is we want quality over quantity. So it's similar with my job at the moment. We're letting all sorts of dross come in to what we're doing, and it's causing us a whole load of problems. A whole load of problems. So for them, I guess it's kind of, as a passenger, it's nice to see that they're not just going to take anybody with no matter what hours or what aircraft. They're being very specific. We want you if you have a certain standard that you've already achieved. So I guess if you spin it that way, it's a positive thing. But for those of us who want to become pilots and get into aviation, it's an impossible barrier to meet. We deal with all the good topics on this channel. Grief, look at the ice. Thank God I had the icing on. Ice on the wings as well there. Yeah, there you go, Andy. So even minimum of 500 hours for EasyJet on aircraft over 10 tons. Maximum takeoff weight. So you've still got to be flying bigger aircraft to... there you go, Centurio, exactly. You've still got to be flying the big airliners, or the, you know, at least some big aircraft that are over 10 tons. Just they say they're desperate, but then they're putting all these barriers in place for good and bad reasons, I guess. Bad for those who want to apply, good for the safety element of it. Interesting, David, very interesting. Go back down to 1,000 foot per minute. We'll lower our manifold pressures to 26 once again. Jim, yeah, that's the way most people will get into the industry, to be honest. Even today, they'll go and join the Royal Air Force, and they will do all sorts of flying with them for however long, doing their minimum service of say 8 years, I think, is temporary commission or permanent commission. I forget what they call it now. I think it's 8 years for temporary, 12 years for full, like, permanent commission before you have to get it renewed. They'll do that and then they'll leave because they'll have hundreds, thousands of hours on large aircraft. Information Alpha, interesting. So you're saying that you can't join the RAF as a pilot due to your eyesight. So how... What's the difference with then becoming a civil pilot? Have you checked with an aeromedical examiner whether or not your eyesight's good enough? Because that'd be the first step. You'll have to pay for an aviation medical exam to say yes, your eyesight's fine to do your training before you commit to £100,000 worth of training to find out that actually medically you're not fit. Geronimo, that's it. Skydiving schools, becoming a flying instructor, doing jobs for smaller sort of companies flying twin props around, which is why some people go off to Africa and do bush flying and things like that in Cessna Grand Caravans and things like that. But yeah, like Royal Air Force, prime example, you cannot join the RAF if you are over 27, I think. 27 or 26 is the maximum age you can actually apply to become an RAF pilot. Yeah, TUI employ a lot of ex-military. Used to work with when I was at Bristol. Most of the pilots, in fact, all of the pilots at Bristol on the 757 were ex-RAF Tornado pilots and ex-naval Harrier pilots and things like that from the Royal Navy. But you won't just get a like-for-like qualification just given to you. You have to still go to a flying school, and you'll still have to do conversion training to get a license converted to civilian license. So you still got to spend money. Unless you're on something like the Voyager, which is the A330. But again, BA doesn't have an A330. It has the A350, which is its nearest similar cousin, I guess. You'd end up at Virgin Atlantic, most likely. Which again, tiny airline. Less opportunities. 20, 30, 235, 20, 225 knots on the descent here. Jonathan, nice. So you on 03 for landing? Awesome. We should do the same. (1019) for the QNH. Get that set really, we should be on local pressure. We're going to go down to 1,700 feet. Just going to let that speed come off here. 230 knots. Information Alpha, is that the same for civilian flying though? Because you'll need to check civilian flying, because if you're going to spend all that money, you need to know that you can get employed at the end of it. Because if you get so far and they go, you can't go any further because medically your eyesight says you can't, then you'll have wasted a lot of money, wouldn't you? You've got to know exactly before you even commit to it. Nome traffic, Everts 880 is inbound descending through 8,000 feet for 1,700 feet, 40 track miles east of the airfield. UNH 1019er, 3010 for the altimeter, and expecting a visual approach to runway 03, Nome traffic. Let's come down a bit more. Now this thing doesn't like to slow down, folks. We're going to have to do in-range checks for about 20 miles. What's that tracking at the moment? Be tracking VOR 1. Yes. Good, that's what we want. So from VOR 1, that's there. We know that we've probably then got 5 miles to the airfield. I've never done this before, folks, this NDBA approach with a bit of a downwind leg and stuff like that, so we'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll be fine. We're going to fly towards the closed runway, which has got the ILS, it's runway 27. We're then going to break off south over the water and then come back for runway 03. Or come down a little bit there. Jonathan, I'm 30 miles away. I'm guessing you didn't hear my transmission. Right, so that's that. Then it follows there. So Nome is kind of there. Where that cursor is, that's where the airfield is. Following this bit of land around here, looking at the charts. Yeah, just a circle to land basically, but in a DC-6. Ooh, Centurio, look at that. Join for left traffic. Alright, what do you guys reckon? Runway 03 or runway 21? Doc's very adamant he wants runway 21, but most of us are landing on 03. So, pop your choice in the live chat nice and quick. Jonathan, you'll probably be able to get ahead of us, to be honest. You're a lot quicker on approach, don't forget as well. Boots, hello. This is about £60, I think. Oh, you know what? Let me have a look on the PMDG website quickly. It's on sale at the moment. It's $59.99 US. So what's that? 40 quid? 50 euros? Ish. As a guesstimation, anyway. bring these down to 30 inches. Centurio, are you thinking going descending dead side? Is that what you're thinking, as if we're VFR sort of thing? VJ, it's really difficult. It's very, very tough. £49.64, there we go. Right, so that's going to be taxi, that's 211 degrees. It's going to be that way, inbound. So quickly scribble them on my notepad. And little circuit. The picture of a plane. Always helps to visualise these things. Alright, so it sounds like we're going to do runway 21 then if the winds are calm. And there are no
traffic, Osprey 094.
no chance at all for it.
For runway 21.
There's the airfield now, actually. Holy fuck, Jesus.
Cooling turbine. Normal. Fuel booster pumps.
Got a localizer, gyropilot mode now.
On low. Fuel tank selectors. Mains on, crossfeed off. Hydraulic bypass valve. Down.
Cheers, David.
No smoking signs. On. In-range checks complete.
Try and line this up a bit better. It's a hands-on aeroplane, this, folks. Go about 20. There we go. Little alarm pop up there. We'll go for 22. He's done the superchargers for us, which is good. Nome traffic, Everts 880, DC-6. Currently 3,500 feet, QNH 1015, and inbound for the visual approach runway 21. We'll report turning downwind, Nome traffic. It's looking like that's pretty nice. NDPA. Jan, hello. Forgive me now, folks, if you don't hear me doing much chat.
From touchdown, runway 03, Alaska.
Some flaps down here, I think. We need drag. Drag is the only thing that's going to get this aeroplane down. Gotta watch the BMEP there. That's 180. It is Centurio. Old habits, because I'm looking at that and it says 1019. Okay, before landing checks.
Flaps 20. Setting flaps 20.
Speed's coming off now. Gyropilot's off, my controls. Little bit of a wiggle. Jiggle. Runway 21. This is 28, Liam, yes. Okay. Nome traffic, Everts 880 is now turning downwind. Runway 21. Report final. Need gear down and stuff, really. Go down to 90.
Alaska 153 on final for runway 03.
03030303. That's there. 21. Altitude, Luke. That'll do.
20 flaps set.
There we go.
Mixtures rich, please. Auto rich. Mixtures set. Gear up and down, please. Gear up and down.
Yeah, we're going to have to turn because of these mountains. Might have to do this a bit more military style.
3 degrees. Rocks. 2400 RPM. 2400 RPM set. Cow flaps. Plus 3 degrees. Cow flaps set. ADI. ADI off. ADI is off.
I'll work out what view I want.
Speed good. Extending lights.
Bit better.
Lights extended and on. Carbine. Carbine call.
Traffic
Set.
Alaska 153 will be
Before landing checks.
turning back at the end of runway 03 and
Oh dear.
will be taxiing after the landing aircraft passed on runway.
As those engines get it on normal.
Australian Air for Nome traffic, we're going to be holding a temporary hold near
140 speed's good.
1165. Oh, well, that's going to be the coordinates.
Is
Unknown name.
that it? Yes. Nome traffic, Everts 880 now turning short final, runway 21. Two red, two white. Looking fine actually. Let's keep it at 90, the MEP. We'll keep this rate of turn going at 5-10 degrees. Need that speed to come off now, so down to about 60-ish, 65. Whoa, there's a big float. I've just added the final stages of flaps in. Pitch has changed because we've got all the flaps in now. 120 knots is looking fine. Here we go. We've got one ahead, but I'm not going to go around. It's too late for that.
Some traffic runway 21 is vacated.
Look at that timing. Beautiful. Gently to idle. Not holding really much flare, just holding the pitch neutral for the aeroplane. There we go. And reverse now. Always a bit slippery on touchdown, I don't know why. Missed echo. Protecting these brakes and everything, see? Question is, can we get off at this tiny taxiway at Delta? I don't think we can. There isn't one. Interesting. What's on the charts doesn't exist here. That was very close, Jonathan. Ah, Delta's a dirt, soft surface taxiway.
Nice landing, man.
Just about. Nome traffic, Everts 880, backtrack, runway 21 to vacated echo.
After landing checks complete.
We'll just taxi to the cargo areas where Doc said, I think he said it was down here, wasn't it? Told us to go down towards the red hangars. Andrew, legend. Over Foxtrot. Which is a soft surface technically. On to 28. We shall just continue on here. Nothing, yeah, I saw you zooming down the runway.
Known traffic, Osprey 394, we're going to be stopping our temporary hold and joining base for runway 21.
Like I broke the door. Oh, the window, there we go. Something's acting up with that, isn't it? Weird. Is that a bug that we found? I was doing it the other day. Now it won't move. Very odd. Cheers, Centuria, thank you very much. What a fantastic flight, awesome scenery, awesome piloting, and a fantastic aircraft. How do you move around so smoothly in the cockpit? Press and hold my right mouse click. And that's kind of it, really. Liam, yeah, you shouldn't have ILS for 2-1. Go angled in like this, I think.
Known traffic, Osprey 394 on final for runway 21 at now. Known traffic.
The hell? Weird. It's like the animation's reversed. Now it's got louder. Now it's got quieter. That makes sense. Strange. So from here then we can just do the after landing checks which we've completed, and we just do the parking and shutdown checks. The question is though, do you guys want to see a replay of the touchdown? Because if you do, we'll keep the engines running. What the hell did I just drive into? Oh, the lamppost. So we can set up the drone camera here. Like so. And we can do a replay externally and also internally with a wing view thing. That's the Phoenix model being a bit weird. There's Liam in the Osprey A320 CEO, the Phoenix A320. Good drills.
Osprey 394 going around.
Rightio. So, let's run the replay. Make sure drone follow mode is off. Cool, it is. We need to go back into the flight deck, and we're going to hit the rewind button quickly now. about here. Hopefully, this is the problem with this particular add-on now. What we got here? Quickly trying to find a wing view we want. There we go. That'll do, won't it? So it will not give us the flaps. We've got to put the flaps and everything in ourselves. I don't think it does the gear. Ah, no, I won't be able to see unless I go external. Oh, the gear is coming down there. Oh, there it is. Wonderful. Yeah, Jonathan, I could see you taxiing very quickly. I heard you say you were going to backtrack and I thought, oh, good grief. Let's hope we've got this done in time. I was envisaging doing a bit more of a squared circuit there, but that terrain that we were really up close to, we couldn't go that far out. So the circuit became a bit more ovular. Ooh, cow flaps just changed. knots on the backtrack, brilliant. I could have been better on speed management for this, to be honest. For that final approach.
On final for runway.
That runway there, in the corner of your screen, that confused me. And this isn't good because it sounds like somebody's on final. I thought Liam landed. Oh yeah, that's a good point. So max taxi speed is V1 technically. Why not? I think we're going to go through Liam, but we're in motion now, so... Jonathan, yeah, we are still on VATSIM. I didn't think anyone else was going to be in the way. I didn't realise Liam had gone around and then changed to 03. But I don't know how he's got on final so quick. Unless he's literally done a quick teardrop and a short final. Here we go. So Sky Dolly doesn't read things like cow flaps, flaps, gear that well, especially in these big, bulky, old school aeroplanes. Touchdown. Oh dear, still got that on.
You don't know if we're vacating on...
Would you like to force quit? Yes, I would. Alright, now back here. Tip play. Just make sure everything stays stable for us. Ooh. See, this is what happens when you do replays. The sim doesn't like it. That's what we want. Yeah, see the other runway, Nome City Airport, very confusing. And it can very easily catch you out, I think. Let's do this view, because then we should be able to spot ourselves a bit easier. Where on earth are we? There we are. I know what we can do, make sure the lights are on. Oh, they are on. There's the old girl.
Osprey 094 is going to be crossing runway 28.
Yeah, it's uncontrolled airspace. There's no controllers and no traffic to conflict with, except for our own pack, so that's why I do it. Otherwise, people get their knickers in the twist. Joep, thank you, buddy. Hopefully, I haven't flared too much and I've just let it land itself. Except for the drifting. We did have a bit of a tailwind. Explains why speed was a bit difficult to manage on approach. Look at that. Beast.
Osprey 09, we're going to be parked beside Echo.
Here comes the skidding. Oh dear. Carter, it is Sky Dolly. It's called Sky Dolly. It's quite cool. Alright, then we did that quick backtrack. It was all the way to the stance. So we can zip back here. Bingo. It's like we never left. And we can do the parking checks. Which is simply that. Yep, yes, I did. And then the aeroplane will shut itself down effectively. Thanks to the AFE managing all the stuff. There goes the props. Fantastic. There we go. Anchorage to Nome in the DC-6, the PMDG DC-6 Microsoft Flight Simulator. Very cool. Fairly average scenery here, real world simulations, Nome. They've added a couple of ships down the bottom there in the actual port area. A couple of statics, default statics and things. Nothing amazing. Probably not a scenery that I would necessarily spend the money on though, because it is very, very basic based upon what you actually get for your money. But the Sim-Wings Anchorage that we departed from, wow, incredible. Really, really, really good. Hope you enjoyed this trip. Hope you enjoyed the new Orbx Alaska scenery. Now it's been patched and fixed as well. And thank you to everybody who flew along throughout the journey today as well. And we've got to do the return at some point in the near future, or even an additional ongoing leg. So who knows? Exactly, Jonathan. So it's not really worth it. This particular scenery here at Nome, don't necessarily buy it. It's not that worthy of the amount of money they're asking for it. Maybe a couple of quid, 1-2 quid. Yeah, maybe that. Beyond that, no, don't buy it. To be quite frank. But yeah, great little flight. Thank you to Andrew for dropping a super chat earlier on, and welcome to all of our new subscribers as well. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do click the shiny red button below. Become a little subscriber. Hit the like button. And touch wood, hopefully, we're going to leave the schedule tomorrow to be quite flexible. We hopefully will do a stream. Haven't decided what yet. Fingers crossed for the 737-600. But if not, that'll be later into the week anyway. And we'll do something else in place of that. All the links are in the live stream's description. For the Sim-Wings Anchorage, the PMDG DC-6, the Orbx Alaska mesh, and also this scenery, though I don't recommend this particular one, which is payware. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll put all the pictures onto Discord, onto Volanta, and I'll pick 4 as usual, stick them on Instagram and Facebook as well. Don't let me forget Twitter too. And I'll see you potentially tomorrow for some magic. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care.